Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we get into that, let's take a couple of minutes, check this out, and make sure it's going to be the right one for you. Having a trailer hitch on the back of a Jeep just makes sense, you know, looks right at home. And people use these to do a ton of different things, you know, pulling trailers around and using accessories. So if that's what you plan on doing, this is going to be a great way to allow you to get the job done. Compared to some of the other hitches available, this one's going to be a good all-around one to use. I personally think it looks the best. It has this matte black carbide finish. I think it looks almost factory, you know, kind of matches the plastic on her bumper there, but that's just my opinion. There is a Kurt style hitch, pretty much identical to this, but has a gloss black finish. So if that happens to match your vehicle better, might be one worth looking into. This is going to be a class 3 hitch, so it has the 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. Super common size. A lot of different things are going to work with it. It is going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, one doesn't come included with the hitch. If you need one, not a big deal. You can always grab one right here, or a lot of times if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one. So just something to think about. Safety chain openings are a plate style and are big enough to allow us to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have on it. The hitch is going to have some pretty good weight capacities. Maximum gross tongue weight rating will be 350 pounds. That's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So that's good for those 1 to 4 bike racks, just to give you an example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds. It's the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. So the weight of your trailer plus anything you might have entered on it. This can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. What happens when you use that, it's going to keep your Jeep and your trailer level whenever you're towing it down the road. So it's pretty popular with enclosed trailers and campers, stuff like that. If you end up using a system like that, the capacities are going to go up a little bit. Tongue weight rating will increase to 400. Gross trailer weight rating will go up to 4,000. With all that said though, I do always like to suggest, never a bad idea just to grab your Jeep's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure that your 4xe can handle that much weight safely. Let's go ahead and grab a couple of measurements, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories will work best. Now keep in mind, yours could be different a little bit. It's being so popular to put bigger tires and lift kits and whatnot on these Jeeps. Just something to think about. In our case, ours is a Rubicon, and it has a 285 by 70 17 tire on it. Just to give you a reference. But if you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be at 21 inches. So if you plan on pulling a trailer, chances are pretty good that ball mount with a 4 to 6 inch drop should work for most people. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 3 inches. And from there to the edge of our spare tire, that's going to be about 9 inches. And you can use that to help figure out if any folding type accessories that you might have can be stored upright without hitting the back of your Jeep. So at the end of the day, a hitch you really can't go wrong with, you know. Good general purpose, all around trailer hitch that'll get the job done, and I think it looks the best too. As far as the installation goes, these are really straightforward on these Jeeps. Not really a whole lot to it. Essentially, you hold it up and bolt it in place. Some of them, like our model, had 2 factory bolts you got to pull out first, but not a big deal. Everything's easy to get to and shouldn't give you too much trouble. But with that in mind, why don't we go ahead, pull into the garage, and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be underneath the back of our Jeep, and along this beam here on the front side, there's going to be a couple of bolts that we need to remove. So here's the 2 bolts I was talking about, and some Jeeps aren't going to have these. The majority of them that I've seen do, but if yours does not, you'll just have empty holes there, and you don't need to worry about doing this part. But since ours do, we'll get them removed, and we're going to hold on to them as well because we will reuse them to secure the hitch. That said, take an 18 millimeter. Just to go over our attachment points real quick, there's going to be a total of 4. So you'll have this one, these two in the middle, and then this one here on the outside. In our case, the two outside ones, we'll reuse those factory bolts. For the inside ones, we're going to take this bolt, a flat washer. When the hitch is up, you're going to run that through, and where it comes out on the back side, you'll use a flange nut. If you don't, didn't have them original bolts, we'll just use two more of these, which are included. Since we did have those original bolts on the back side here, there's going to be this little plate. And when we go to put the hitch up, you're going to want the hitch to sit in between this beam and the plate like that. So when you're lifting this up, you might have to take a screwdriver or something and just kind of pry on it to get it to sneak in there. We can go ahead and grab our hitch now and kind of pry up on that. Give us that space. We will get this lined up and hold it in position. That way we can get our bolts started. I like to do the bolts in the center first, just because they're pretty easy to push through, and that way the hitch will support itself while we take our factory bolts and get them threaded in. Just kind of a quick pointer, since the bolts that we put in the middle or the center, on the back side where we put the flange nuts, it's pretty tight. One thing you can do is take a 3/4 inch wrench, the open end like this, put that nut through there, and then I just take some packing tape, kind of tape it on there. That way we can kind of hold this up as one deal and make it a little bit easier to get started. So a little bit easier to see why I like to kind of tape the nut to the wrench there. Makes it a little bit easier to get it up into place and get everything lined up. So we will get this one hand tight, and once it's like that, you can usually even reuse the tape and just put the other nut in there and get it started on the other bolt. With all of our hardware in place, we'll come back and snug it all down. So with our factory ones, using that same 18 millimeter. And for our new ones, you can use 2 3/4 inch wrenches. One, you will hold the nut down from spinning. We can tighten this up. You need to make sure and come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. With the hitch all torqued down, we're ready to go. So that will finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe.